From a VPC characteristics perspective, there are a few things that you should know. For starters, AWS reserves 5 IP addresses per subnet, the first 4 of every subnet and the last 1 of every subnet. They reserve those for management purposes, for example, the gateway. So just keep that in mind because this could very well be an exam question. You can also create 3 types of subnets: a private subnet, a public subnet, or a VPN-only subnet, or a VPN dedicated, or a subnet dedicated to VPN. Subnets do not span availability zones, so you cannot have a single subnet that goes between availability zone A and availability zone B. You would need to have separate subnets per availability zones. You have a single region, multiple AZs architecture. So every region will have at least 2 availability zones and sometimes more. So keep that in mind as well. And your VPC will span the entire region. So multiple availability zones, you only need 1 VPC. Your CIDR block can be anywhere from 16 to 28, so you can configure that however way you'd like. And you can also select the IP prefix. So for example, 192.168.0.0 or 10.0.0.0 or 172. It depends. You can select the IP prefix that you choose. Let's talk about VPC security. I touched a little bit on this, but let me kind of also expand on a little bit. We're not going to focus very much on VPC security in this lesson. We're going to expand on it later in later lessons. But you have essentially security groups and network access control lists. Security groups apply at the resource level. They are a resource level traffic firewall. They apply to instances, to elastic load balancers, etc., where you're applying it at the instance level. Whereas with an access control list, as we'll see in a second, it's more a subnet level configuration. You have access to control the ingress and the egress traffic. It's also stateful, which means return traffic is allowed. So if you're making a connection out to a particular server on the internet, it is assumed that the return traffic is allowed in. So return traffic is allowed. From an access control list, network access control list perspective, it's a source and protocol filtering. So it gives you a lot more granularity over what you can control. It's a subnet level traffic firewall. It separates inbound and outbound traffic and rule sets. It's stateless, which means traffic is strictly filtered, which means the return traffic is not automatically implied as allowed. You literally have to allow that. We're going to cover VPC security in greater detail in a later lesson.